What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 and either build them or fix them depending on how they rank. Now today we continue our journey through the Monk class as we take the time to just slow down and smell the roses and maybe take some time away from killing everything and offer mercy as we cover the Mercy Monk today. So if you're excited to talk about this new and exciting subclass, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. As you can see, most people who watch the channel are not subscribed, so please don't be one of those people. Help us to reach our goal of 5,000 by the end of this year. I think we can do it, but I need your help to get there. And of course, one of the best ways that you can support the channel is to click that bell so you're notified when new videos are uploaded, and share the video with your friends, and consider joining so that you get all of the amazing benefits from that. So the Way of Mercy Monk is very unique. It was introduced in Tasha's, so it's new-ish, at least in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, Sin Dragon is a little newer, but this subclass is still really interesting, where we focus actually more on healing than we do on dealing damage. Now, it's not to say that this cannot do damage, or that this doesn't have any kind of feature that keeps it from dealing extra damage, because it actually has a little bit of both in there. And there's actually some really cool flavor in here as well. So starting off, we have this Implements of Mercy type thing. And so it's kind of a ribbon feature, but it's also really cool. And it has to do with wearing masks. And so I thought for today, I'm repping the Persona 5 shirt. I thought that would be perfect for this type of video. So yeah, let me know in the comments, if you were a Mercy Monk, what mask would you wear? I'm interested to know, and I'm sure I'm going to get some really awesome responses down there. So yeah, let me know, what mask would you wear if you were a Mercy Monk? With that out of the way, let's jump into our ranking. And so part of the Implements of Mercy, we talked about the mask already, but with this, we also get some proficiencies in Insight, Medicine, and with an Herbalism kit. This, of course, is pretty nice, and hopefully you did not take any of that when you did your initial character creation. And so that's a pretty decent amount of things to get here. Overall, getting 2 proficiencies plus a tool is not terrible. I will give this a 7 out of 10 because, of course, it also includes getting a mask, and that's just really cool. And so, yeah, I think that's not too bad. But of course, we get a couple other things that help to bolster everything that we get in level 3. At level 3, we also get 2 other features, and that is Hands of Healing and Hands of Harm. With Hands of Healing, we actually can heal someone else if we use an action to touch them, and we can restore hit points equal to our martial arts die and our wisdom modifier added together. We also can replace one of the unarmed strikes that we make with our flurry of blows feature in order to do this as well without spending an extra key point. And so with this is actually a very interesting way to look at this, because we can either just take our entire action to do this, or we've already spent the key point for flurry of blows and we can just use it for one of those. To me, that's a little more efficient, and it presents an interesting feature that you can use both as an action and as a bonus action. There are very few of those out there in D&D, and so this gives you kind of a really good versatility option to be able to heal. Is this the best out there? No, I mean, your martial arts die right now is a D4. It will eventually become a D10. And then, of course, your wisdom modifier hopefully is good, but it may not be at 3rd level. But so this will scale and it'll be fine. I would probably reserve this for if someone is already down and using this as a get back up type of option. That seems like the most efficient use to me anyway, but I'm sure that you can find other ways to use this. Overall, this isn't terrible, but it's also not the best either. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. It is a range of touch, so you do have to be there, but it is also very key efficient. And so even though it's not that much healing, it's not that much of a strain on your key. And so I can't really rank it that low because of that. Finally, we get Hands of Harm at level 3, and so whenever we hit with an unarmed strike, we can spend a key point to deal extra necrotic damage equal to yes, the same amount of damage that we had healed with Hands of Healing, martial arts die, plus wisdom modifier, and we can only do this once per turn. Now, necrotic damage is not the worst type of damage out there. It's not the best, but I've definitely seen way worse, right? It's not poison damage that we're dealing, right? And so I think that overall this is going to end up being nice. It is only once per turn, which is unfortunate, but for that one attack, you are doubling the dice that you are rolling for your unarmed strike. So you're rolling the one and then you're rolling another one for this. Plus you're adding your wisdom modifier on top of your dexterity modifier that you're already using for your unarmed strike. So that particular unarmed strike is going to be dealing a decent amount of damage. And that feels really good, actually. So I really like this. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Overall, you're getting a decent amount of damage on this, and it would go higher if we could do this more than once. But I mean, for one key point, we're either dealing damage or healing the same amount. And so it's pretty efficient for what it is. At level 6, we get Physician's Touch, and this actually just buffs our Hand of Healing and our Hand of Harm, which is, first of all, great subclass design. But is it meaningful? Let's find out. So whenever we use our Hand of Healing, we can actually also end one disease or condition from blinded, deafened, paralyzed, poisoned, or stunned. And when we use our Hand of Harm, we can actually subject the creature to the poisoned condition until the end of our next turn. So there's a lot going on here, right? With the Hands of Healing, now we are healing for one key point, right? So it's still very key efficient. It doesn't cost extra key to do this. And we basically get a lesser restoration built in. That's really good, actually. For one key point, again, we've looked at things like the 4 Elements Monk and we fixed that and all that. And so we were spending key points equal to the level of spell that it was actually using up, right? With this, we're healing and curing that condition at the cost of 1 key point, which is huge to me. And it can be done as a bonus action as part of our flurry of blows. That's also huge. So for all of these reasons, that is an amazing use of 1 key point, and you're going to get a lot out of this. Now, is this going to happen all the time? Are you always going to have somebody who is, blinded, deafened, paralyzed, poisoned, stunned? Not all the time, but this is going to be really, really handy when it happens. And I mean, starting at 6th level, you're going to start running into these conditions. And especially once you get like between 7 and 10, you're going to start seeing these a little more often. And so being able to just run over, pop that, and get rid of it is going to be really, really helpful in supporting your team. With the harm part of it, we can actually subject the creature to the poisoned condition, which the poison condition is actually pretty nasty. And I will say, I'm pretty sure about 80% of creatures will actually be affected by this. There are a decent amount of creatures that are immune to the poison condition, and so you'll run into that. But the vast majority of creatures are not immune to this, and so that's also helpful. And the poison condition is pretty good, especially with the fact that they have disadvantage on attack rolls, and so that gives you an easy out. That gives you some added bulk, right? Some added defense to where you're going to be harder to hit if you're hitting somebody who's right up in melee with you. And there's no saving throw on this. It's just there. Most of the time when there is a poison type thing, there's a Constitution saving throw involved, and we all know how bad con saves are. This skips that, right? We've talked about the Poisoner feat before, right? The Poisoner feat has a DC 14 Constitution saving throw to cause the poison condition. That's awful, right? This just does it. And that's huge. That's really, really, really good. I can't give this feature any less than a 10 out of 10. It's really good. It doesn't cost any extra key to do any of these things. And it's giving us some really meaningful help in both the support for our allies and for keeping ourselves safe and our allies as well if there is an attack made against someone other than us. At level 11, we get Flurry of Healing and Harm. And so again, we're just buffing those core features for this subclass. So with the healing portion, whenever we use our Flurry of Blows, we can now replace both of our unarmed strikes with our Hands of Healing, and it does not cost additional key to do so. With the Hand of Harm, whenever we make an unarmed strike with Flurry of Blows, we can actually use the Hand of Harm with the strike without spending the key point. And again, it's still only once per turn. So this is just making it to where we get to use this more often and not spend as much key points. That's really nice, right? So now Hand of Harm is going over to a bonus action if we want to. We can do more than one Hand of Healing and not spend extra key to do it. And of course, we're doing all the amazing things that we talked about with Physician's Touch back at level 6. So for all of these things, we are just making this better and better and better. And this, again, I don't know why subclasses are not designed like this by and large, but this is really, really nice and really awesome. I've got to give this a 9 out of 10. It's really key efficient. It really helps us out to be able to heal everybody, to get rid of status conditions, and to add the poisoned condition without necessarily having to take our action to do this. We can just do it on our bonus action and not spend any extra key on it because we've already spent it on Flurry of Blows. That feels really, really good. Finally, at level 17, we get Hand of Ultimate Mercy, and this is our first divergence away from the Hand of Healing and Hand of Harm buffing type of thing that we've been doing. Is it worth it? Well, let's find out. So as an action, we can go up to a corpse of a creature that has been dead for less than 24 hours. We can spend 5 key points to revive that creature and give it 4d10 plus wisdom modifier hit points. In addition to that, if the creature died while being subjected to the blinded, deafened, paralyzed, poisoned, or stunned conditions, then those are also removed, and we can do this once per long rest. Being able to revive someone as a monk and remove status conditions is pretty cool. And it definitely fits the Way of Mercy type of flavor here. Now, I do wish that they would have had, in addition to this, kind of an ultimate burst feature to go with the Hand of Harm. But it's okay. At least like maybe to where you could do it more than once in a turn, right? And that be the restriction that gets lifted. But either way, this is what we got. And being able to revive somebody is no joke. Now, hopefully you have had somebody who can revive people in your party for at least, 12 levels. Hopefully you had a full caster that got it back at level 5. But now we can do it. And we have a decent amount of our restrictions lessened here. We do not need material components, which is huge because material components are obviously very expensive. And so we don't have to worry about that. It's 5 key points. It's not like Revivify where it has to be really quick. It's 24 hours. So that's really good too. So the only thing that's really bad about this is just the fact that it costs 5 key points. I would love for it to have cost less, like maybe 3 key points, but I understand what they're going for. And it is still a very nice feature. For that, I've got to give this a 9 out of 10. Being able to revive somebody is nice. And if your healer is the one that goes down, you may need to step into that role. And this gives you the ability to do that and fill that role temporarily and get your healer back on their feet. So what do we think of the Way of Mercy monk? This is a really cool subclass, and I think this is the monk where they finally figured out what a monk should be, and then they went and messed it all up when they did Ascendant Dragon. But this is a really, really cool monk subclass, and it just has a lot of really good stuff going for it. Hand of Healing and Hand of Harm both go hand in hand, pun intended, in making sure that you can both be a frontline damage dealer and a healer, and so you can build around either of these features. And when we go to our build on Friday for this, we are going to actually only explore one of these avenues, but I will give suggestions for going the other because this can really work for both if you want to. And there are some really interesting ways that you can build one of these. It works really well with Physician's Touch, of course, being able to have a basically lesser restoration built into your Flurry of Blows. And then your Hand of Harm eventually moving to your bonus action. And this subclass is also incredibly key efficient. It doesn't suck your key points out with every other turn. Like it's just super, super nice and just makes it feel really, really satisfying to play. So with all of that, is this a 10 out of 10 monk? Here's the thing. I honestly don't know if I can give this a 10 out of 10 as a monk subclass. And I honestly don't know if there is any monk subclass that is a 10 out of 10, to be honest with you. This is a very good subclass. Don't get me wrong. I do think that this is very strong and gives us a lot of amazing options. But I do think that it is missing just that one little kick in order to, at least for me, get it up to a 10. So for today, we're going to go with a 9 out of 10 for the Mercy Monk. It is very good, very much worth playing, and very flavorful, and I think you will have a ton of fun playing one of these. So what do you think of my ranking? Let me know down below. So later this week, we've got 2 videos coming, actually. Our variety build is coming later this week. Our first one in a while is coming later this week, actually tomorrow for everybody. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. And then Friday, of course, we are going to do a build for the Way of Mercy Monk, and I am very much looking forward to that. Of course, if you want to have your suggestion move to the top of the list for our variety builds, make sure that you are joined on the channel as a member. Make sure that you are at the gold level, and you can of course make your suggestions, and those will skip everyone else's. So I really appreciate all of you for your support. Thank you for watching the video. Until next time, stay safe out there, stay healthy. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.